We often approach corporates and we speak to them about how do they engage with their staff, how do they get them physically active. And today we're visiting Jumeirah Oasis Village, where Jumeirah Group of hotels house all their colleagues that live in. And we're going to speak to Gordon Reck, the head of colleague services, about what they do to engage with their staff and how do they get them physically fit and active. Gordon, so thank you for inviting us over today to Jumeirah Oasis Village. It's a beautiful, beautiful property in the middle of Al Quoz. Genuinely a little oasis.
Yeah, I know, we are a jewel in there.
Yeah, if you come out of Al Quoz, you come through the gates, you can see it's completely different. Give us a brief background and history to Jumeirah Oasis Village.
So Jumeirah Oasis Village is an owned property. We are 23 years old now. The property was built over a variety of phases. As Jumeirah evolved as a company and grew, we essentially, as a property, as the accommodation or community, grew with the property. We house at the moment around a little over 3,000 people here. Generally, all our colleagues from the managed the owned properties. So yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's a little oasis, a genuine oasis here inside this area.
Now, over recent years, Jumeirah Group have spent a huge amount of money upgrading existing facilities, but then also adding a lot of new facilities, specifically focusing on keeping the staff physically active and physically engaged.
Yeah.
What are some of these facilities that you've added, and what have you upgraded?
So, I mean, originally we're fortunate to have a large volume of area here, so we can have a nice outside spaces. And we've used that to obviously build courts. We've had courts since the property opened, and we've renovated all those all the outdoor courts. But we recognised that there was a need for a space that we could then continue our sporting season through the summer months. So one of the key things we built was our indoor arena, which I can show you through later. The indoor arena then facilitates that our sporting season grows throughout the year. We don't have to switch off for summers per se. One of the other big upgrades we did was we invested in our 2 swimming pools. We're fortunate to have a male and a female pool, or a communal pool, which is open to everybody, and a ladies exclusive pool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. As it is a community where people are living together, we encourage community involvement. So we have 2 sort of community centres. In the community centres, we have coffee shops, sports lounges, games rooms where people can be entertained, and obviously our gymming facilities.
Yeah.
We did a major upgrade on both our gyms. We have 2 gyms. We're fortunate enough to be able to inherit the equipment from the hotels, refurbish them, and then keep our gyms, top of the line all the time.
Yeah. Well, the gyms are amazing. I mean, but one of the key things that you said that you previously had sports seasons. Now you do it all
now
year.
We've got basically a full year of sporting events that we can carry on right through the year. So we don't sort of have an off season like we used to have, which is really great.
Okay. Well, recently I attended the cricket tournament that you had.
Yes.
And one of the things that I noticed was that you didn't have colleagues that were just living inside the property coming to support, but you also had colleagues that were living outside, that came in to support, the various different hotels that were playing.
Yeah, so we're trying to include as much of the whole business as we can. And the inter-cricket tournament that you were at was between the different hotels. And they had teams that consisted of people that lived in the village or that lived outside of the village. It was a great success. Cricket is obviously a huge sport within the village. The other one is football. The sports arena that we did build, we actually opened it with a massive football tournament that was again inter-property between our different hotels. And also a raging success.
One of the other things that I noticed was that there was also, and you could spot them within the crowd, there were also a lot of business units leaders, managers from the hotels, and HR managers from the different hotels. And is that the norm? Do you see that happening at all the different events?
It is a great tool that we use. I mean, it's essentially, it gets our colleagues and our leadership teams into the same space in a much more relaxed environment, around sports, around our engagement activities. So it puts them in the same environment. It gets them started on the same level. So yeah, it's a really a valuable tool, and it becomes natural after a while. It is kind of it's a given that we will have some of our senior management attend, or if not, take part in our sporting event.
Yeah. So you've mentioned you've got the swimming pools, you've got the indoor sports arena, you've got the cricket facility, you've got basketball courts.
Basketball, badminton, we've got a beach volleyball court now. So we try to cater for all our nationalities. We, as you know, within Dubai, there's always a diversity of nationalities within the property. And to be able to cater for that is a challenge. We have to have, each one's got a niche sport that they kind of enjoy, and making sure we recognize and encourage those sports is vital.
Yeah, because you've got a vast collective of different cultures and religions and nationalities.
Yeah, we're sitting, I think, at a little over 100 different nationalities on the property at the moment.
And so what kind of challenges does that bring in creating sporting events or physically activity events that cater to the mass or to everybody?
You see, the thing is, like I said, each culture does, and each nationality or groups of nationalities have their sports that they're kind of following. But we also do see that this sort of grows in there a cross-culture thing. That you will have people that are not generally football players, not sort of trying football out, or not. I mean, badminton is not a really big thing in the rest of the world, but for certain nationalities, it's just a huge sport. And then people seeing, or other nationalities seeing that sport and saying, "Hey, I'd like to try that." And then you sort of have this cross-culture sort of diversity happening.
Yeah. Well, what would you say is the key success elements that drive these initiatives that you have and lead them to actually be really successful in engaging your community?
You see, I think it goes down to the core of our business. We are a hospitality business, and coming from the Arab hospitality mentality that we give and we accept everybody, and we look after our guests in that way. So it sort of flows over into the way we look after our colleagues in Jumeirah. I'd like to think of Oasis Village as the hotel for hoteliers. This is the hospitality center, and we then reflect that on our colleagues who are our brand ambassadors in the business. So if they're happy within their residence and in the environment they live in, it equates to their workplace.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're aware, but 2 years in a row now, Jumeirah has won Great Place to Work, and this is again a testament on the fact that formula is actually working within our environment.
Yeah. Now, what are the major benefits? I mean, we get approached by a lot of companies that want to do these corporate initiatives, and we make recommendations, and there's always talks about, oh yeah, but it's going to cost us this much, and we're going to cost us that much, etc. You guys have invested a lot, so clearly there had been very clear benefits to having your staff physically engaged and physically active. What are those benefits that you've seen in the business?
I mean, in the last few years, everybody went through a rough time through COVID. We came straight out of COVID, and it was a really difficult time for everybody. But I noticed when we started making changes to the community, to the village, when we opened facilities, when we upgraded things, there was almost an immediate and active shift of how the feel of the village became. An example is our swimming pools. The second we opened the swimming pools, it went over from being a labor camp to a community. We get this resort campus feel now that we've never had before, that is now really just grown and grown as we've invested in the property. And it's the little things as well. It's not just the building of a swimming pool or the building of a stadium. It's all the little things to do, the eye on detail to make sure those little things are working, or little things are fixed, things are running well, and those collectively, win the war.
Yeah. Would you say that the company, because I've seen, we've taken a look in your cafeteria, and there's a lot of healthy
we like
meals.
to refer to it as a restaurant.
A restaurant. I do apologize. We've gone in there, and there's a big focus on having healthy foods prepared. The gym, even this morning early on, was very, very busy. That's one of 2 gyms.
Yeah.
And you're building the second one. You're renovating now.
Well, we're taking the existing gym, second existing gym that is a little small on the side. We're going to expand it. We've recognized sort of niches of groups that we're not quite catering to yet. We want to sort of expand to have a yoga facility, a yoga studio, where we can do yoga classes, Zumba classes in a better environment than we're currently doing it in. We want to expand that gym because our property and our population within the property is growing, and we've noticed that the current demographics are very fitness orientated, and it's refreshing. It's great to see, and our facilities are being used, and we just got to keep growing on that.
Oh, fantastic! Well, you guys are doing a lot of great work. I'm really happy to see that there's a company that, even though you have over 3,000 colleagues that live in this village, that you guys are actively involved in engaging with them in a physical level, and that the management get involved in that. And that's a true testament of the company. So well done on that, and thank you very much for today.
And thank you to you and YFC for your support over the last couple of years. I mean, you guys have supported us through the use of your app, and it's been used and widely accepted by our colleagues. So thank you, Osman.
Our pleasure is all ours.
Great.
At the end of every financial year, and you sit and you discuss the budgets for the next financial year, the inevitable conversation goes, what are you going to do for staff wellness? The unfortunate reality is that that budget that is then decided or allocated is usually very, very small, and more often than not even used, which is a pity, because people would ask, what company can I go to where they actually care about my wellness? What company contributes towards my physical activity, healthy eating, etc.? And then the question is, which company does it right? Well, I can tell you now, these guys, they do it right.